Okay. Just a day after winning an Oscar, she was on the set making this new film, Maggie's Plan. Actress Julianne joins us to talk about her latest role. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. So Maggie's Plan is a romantic comedy about a young woman who's really just trying to make it on her own in New York City. She's got these plans in place. Those plans don't necessarily work out. She meets your character's husband, and then there's this like love triangle, and as we know, those don't always work out, right?
This one actually works out remarkably well. I mean, it's interesting. I think it's a very modern take on relationships and what constitutes a family, and yes, you're right, how the best laid plans don't always lead you where you expect.
I have met a lot of control freaks in my life. In fact, I thought I was one, but you make me look like an amateur.
You have an accent in the movie. When I started watching it, and I was like, oh, wait, like a Danish accent? How is it hard to change your voice? I mean, and how do you get to that point where you go, okay, yeah, I've nailed that accent?
It's a lot of fun. Rebecca Miller and I, she's the writer, the director, very much wanted her to be a European because we wanted her to seem something very other than Greta Gerwig's character, Maggie. And so we kind of searched around for an accent. We ended up landing on Danish. But it was fun to explore.
I bet so. Now, you won an Oscar, I read. You won an Oscar for Still Alice. And then the next day, you were on the set, I read, filming this movie, two very, very different movies. Do you prefer one over the other?
I don't. I'm really happy to have the opportunity to do so many different things. I mean, this was really interesting because we had anticipated shooting it earlier, and it kept sliding because Ethan and I were both involved in the Oscars that year, and so it was really just sort of a scheduling nightmare. And we were location specific, and so literally the day after the Oscars, we were on an ice rink shooting that scene at the end of the movie. We were all on skates, so I had barely had any sleep, and suddenly it was like, you know, boom, right into something else. But in a way, it was a very nice way to do it. So you win an Oscar one day, and then you're back at work the next.
Yeah, speaking of red carpet events, you always make the best dress list. And I have to ask you, do you see something on the rack and you're like, yeah, that's it? Or do you have to go through and do you have to try on lots of things before you know it's like the dress for that night?
You end up trying stuff on because you really never know, but I think what happens is that you know what works on you, and you know what you respond to. There's certain designers that I'll wear again and again. There are certain silhouettes I know that work on me, but you know, it's a pretty fun process, actually.
As a mom of a young child, I have to tell you, I love your kids' books. Super cute. And I love that I looked it up and I was like, oh, her kids are older. They're older than I thought they were, because you're still writing kids' books, and I love that.
Yeah. I write this Freckle-Faced Strawberry series. There's another picture book coming out this summer. I have a 14-year-old and an 18-year-old. When my son was 7, actually, that was when the first one came out. So now I'm like, wow, it's been 11 years. And of course, my characters don't grow any older, but my children do.
Yeah, sometimes you wish they'd stop, but that still happens. I understand.
I do.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We look forward to seeing this new movie.
Thank you. Thanks. I hope you go. Thank you.
The movie Maggie's Plan, by the way, it's open in Dallas just last weekend. It expands nationally tomorrow. We have a link on our website, fox4news.com.